So I was just having a conversation with myself, but I'm definitely in a season of my life where I am in the dark and I don't know what's happening. I don't know how things are going to play out. I don't know what to look forward to. I have an idea, but it's still like, you never really know because everything is always up in the air. And I feel like I'm in a space where I'm learning how to be comfortable in the unknown, knowing how to self-regulate, knowing how to still show up without adding the burden of the stress that I do feel, and really just learning how to be, how to exist, how to also be taken care of without feeling the need to overdo it and without feeling the need to just be hyperactive, honestly. This season of my life definitely feels like I'm learning to be, I guess you guys would say, like more in my feminine, as in not being so productive, if that makes sense. And of course, like being feminine doesn't mean not doing those things, but your masculine energy is what puts action behind things. And I feel like femininity is definitely more in the heart space. I feel like I'm learning how to really dial back from that masculinity. I'm learning how to be more in my receiving energy and not so much in my giving energy. I don't know, like this season is just different. It's very different. Like I feel like if I weren't in my evolved state of mind, I would definitely be crashing out, honestly. I feel like when I think about like the average person in society, they would possibly be crashing out in my circumstances right now. But I just feel like this peace because I have grown my relationship so much with God that it's just like what's meant to happen will happen and what's not meant to happen won't happen. And I'm just learning to take my hands off the wheel, not feeling the need to control, not feeling the need to manipulate, and not manipulate in a bad way, but like, you try to see like what can I do to change the situation. But like, of course, in the back of my mind, like I'm doing what I feel led to do, but I'm also not doing anything extra that I don't feel led to do, if that makes sense. Like I'm just really learning to trust and I'm learning to have faith. At least I don't want to say learning how to do those things. It's more so me strengthening those things because I feel like I've had experiences that really made me feel that level of like, wow, there's a reason to have faith. There's a reason to trust. There is, like there's definitely a higher power. And of course, like I've never doubted the idea of God, right? God is in everything. And I feel like in this season of my life, it's like I'm learning. I don't even want to say learning because it's like I'm doing it, so I know it. But it's showing up with God in everything. It's knowing that God is in everything that I do. It's knowing that, yeah, I have free will, but God is ultimately the one in control of the beginning, the ending, what happens, what doesn't happen. And it's just like, I'm comfortable in that idea. I'm learning to be comfortable in that feeling of it's handled, it's out of my control basically. And that's okay. Like I'm so used to, I feel like growing up having, I didn't know it, but like having, I guess, like control issues where you feel like, well, where I feel, let me make it personal, like where I felt like everything was in my control and what I did determined the outcome. And to an extent, yes, that is true, but it's also like God allows things and God doesn't allow things, and the things that he allows, it's like, okay, this is good for the path that you're taking. And sometimes things happen because there's lessons for you to learn, but it's also acknowledging that when things don't happen the way that you may want it to go, it's like down the line in hindsight, it happened for a reason and it was for the better, honestly. Like, and I would say I have experienced so many different situations where it's just like I can't deny certain things, not that I've ever denied it, but it's just like when things are so crystal clear to you that you just like, like that you know that you know, and you know that you are not in control, that there is a higher source, there's a level of comfort in that. And I'm not one of those people, like, I think it's so important for me to just mention this, not that it changes anything, but I was always one of those people. I'm a very, like, I would say, of course, I think with my heart, but I'm also very logical. And I'm a person, I ask a lot of questions. I'm not the person to just follow things because I'm told to. I'm not the person to just accept, oh, that's just how it is. Like, I want to know why. I want to know the background. I want to know the history. I want to know just different things. I want to know, why do you feel that way? What makes you so confident in that? That is just the type of person I am. And I love that. Basically, like a critical thinker. Like, I love that because everything that I am then confidently sure in is because I went through a process of gaining that confidence. And this just shows me how confident I've grown just throughout the past, I want to say like 2 years, even longer than that. But I mean, like, consciously aware of the process that I'm experiencing, actually being aware, self-aware, and also just aware of my circumstances and not really allowing myself to see things in a different lens than what it actually is. Of course, like, sometimes with our experiences and just the things that we, like, know, or the things that we hear, we oftentimes tend to project onto our experiences in a way where you're not seeing things from a clear lens. But I feel like in my case, I have worked on myself so much that I feel like I am able to see things from a clearer lens. I've gained so much emotional intelligence. I'm not perfect, right? That's not what this journey is about, but it's me being confident in the growth that I've made just within myself and how I perceive life. And it's just, I don't know, like, it's this feeling of like being proud of yourself, and not because of an accomplishment that's external of you, but like just being proud of yourself internally, being proud of the work that you've done on yourself, being proud of, like, just working through things that you may not have thought you would be able to work through, or things that you didn't even know that you needed to work through. And the fact that with acknowledgement, with, like, acknowledging that it was a thing that you did need to work on for your betterment, and you actively doing that, it's just beautiful to experience. And I remember I made a video, I don't know, I don't even think it was like a year yet, but it was a video basically of me talking about like having to sacrifice the old you in order to really experience a better version of your reality. And just experiencing this is like, wow, it's like, I know I'm not at the end, and I can't even say that there is an end, if I'm being honest, until like I'm just not here anymore. But like, to know that like while I'm present on this earth and I am making experiences, I am learning things and just all of that, it's just such a, I don't know, like, I'm proud of myself. And to say that I'm proud of myself is like another proud moment, if that makes sense. And it's like thinking of like the little me and just knowing like, like, you're doing good for yourself now, and we wouldn't have expected for us to be here. And the fact that this is my current reality, and it's not even perfect, honestly. Like I said, I would be crashing out right now if I didn't have the mindset that I have. But I have such this level of peace in my life. It's like this level of detachment, really, where it's just like what's meant to be will be, and what's not meant to be won't be. And I'm okay with that. And this is a very vulnerable video, but like I said, when it came to this YouTube channel, it's not just about commentary. It's not just about, oh, let me keep up with what's going on in the world. Like, I truly stand by, when you grow, when you work on yourself, when you're intentional about the things and the decisions that you make in this life, you will reap the benefits in ways that you couldn't have even imagined. Like, people are so focused on growing externally and like obtaining material things and validation from people. But like, when you are in a space where you can validate yourself and you can acknowledge just where you started versus where you currently are. And then also adding another layer of knowing if you continue on this path with the extra knowledge that you gain over time, with being consistent, with being disciplined, with growing spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially, because that adds a little razzle dazzle in this capitalistic society in order to really experience things. If that's something that you value, which I do, I just feel like it's beautiful. It's like to know where I could end up is motivation. And I feel like me being able to even like be in that mindset because of knowing how things have actively been, even when I didn't know how things would play out. Like, one thing I always tell people is every time I've wanted something, I've always gotten something way better than I could have expected. And that's where like that level of patience, and again, like knowing that you're not ultimately in control. And sometimes when you grab the wheel too hard, or when you put your hand on the wheel too much, it's like you are deterring yourself and kind of hindering the process, because sometimes we are clouded by certain experiences, mindsets, and habits and things like that. So it can tend to slow us down from where God intends for us to be. But when you like fully surrender, and I'm not saying I'm fully surrendered because I'm working on it, like I'm not trying to, that's the thing, like with this, I want to be transparent and honest. This is not to make it seem like, oh, you have to be at this like perfect level. Like, I'm far from perfect. And I've accepted that as an ex-perfectionist. I wasn't able to see myself for where I was because I was so focused on improving. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with that, because that means like, you're always looking to be better, like that's a good thing. But I think that becomes toxic when you don't allow yourself to see yourself in your current state and acknowledge yourself, and like big up yourself, like tell yourself like, yeah, you're doing good, like you're not perfect, but we're aiming there, and so far so good, you're doing good. It's being your own cheerleader. It's showing up for yourself even when you feel down, but it's also being like empathetic with yourself and allowing yourself to experience those different forms of emotions without beating yourself up about it, because we're human. Again, like when it comes to just like this specific type of content, it is very personal, I would say. But I feel like the purpose of this channel is not just, again, me doing commentary about the world, because I'm not gonna lie, like I speak on these topics because of course I want to be updated with this world. But once the camera is off, like I'm not tuned into what's going on in this ghetto matrix, because the matrix will keep you sucked in to fear, stress, anxiety, depression, and I just don't want that for myself. Like it definitely is great to keep up with what's going on in the world, but I also like to unplug from social media and the internet and not be bombarded with a whole bunch of just toxicity. And honestly, with this channel, my whole intention to begin with was really to be a guide to people and not just talk about current events that everyone is talking about. It's more so trying to help people elevate themselves to live a better version of themselves, to experience a better version of life that's in accordance to what you want for yourself. And also, if you believe in God, which I hope y'all do, because anything other than that, I'm judging you. And you believe, listen, it ain't me, so I don't care what you do, okay? I don't know you. So believe what you want. But if you are in good energy and you believe in a higher source, whatever that is to you, like I said, just make sure it's good, because listen, don't attach yourself to unnecessary demons if you don't have to, okay? But my whole thing with just this page when I initially started it was to be a guide to the youth, and not just the youth, because at all ages we are still growing. We are still, like if you're being intentional about it, you are still growing as a person. Don't be that adult that is stuck in your old ways that is not healthy for you, that does not really promote growth in your life, but like you're stuck in the same loop that you're not happy in. You have the ability to change your reality. You just have to believe it, but you also have to want it bad enough. And I will say, I got to a place where I was tired of my BS and I wanted it bad. And I'm still working on building how bad I want it. You get what I'm saying? But I'm also being patient patient with myself, because not everything is just gonna happen overnight. This is literally a process. I would honestly say like this journey of just self-improvement, but also being self-aware, really started during, you know, the lockdown. I would say like 2020, but that was just the beginning of me accepting information that was taboo to me, that it was hard for me to accept, I'm not gonna lie. But over time, when you really start to see more evidence, and I think that's the thing with humans, like we want evidence to really believe, and I think that's normal, honestly. Like, again, being a critical thinker, I would be a hypocrite for me to say like, oh, just believe it because a person is telling you, because I was that person where it's just like I needed to know why, you know, like I asked a lot of why questions. And I think that's a great place to be as a human, because that's how you really build a purposeful, intentional life. I feel like you then come into agreement with things that you are intentionally coming into agreement with, because you have the awareness, you have the information. Again, just because you have information doesn't mean that you're walking in wisdom. You know, it's one thing to know something, but when you walk in what you know, that's where wisdom comes in, and that's applied knowledge basically. So that's the space that I realize like you have to be in, like, because to know something and to not apply the knowledge that you have, you will literally find yourself on a hamster wheel that you may not want to be in. But when you take the time to walk in wisdom and discernment and really be intentional, that is how you experience growth in life, because you are now, you know, like you really trying to walk that walk and you're really trying to see changes in your life. So again, this was very just a conversation that I was having with myself before I started recording another video. But I'm like, you know what? This is the type of content that I also want to include in my content. Like, it's not just about what's going on outside, but I want us to really focus on our externals as well. I don't want y'all to focus on me, but I want to be able to share what I'm learning with you guys so that you guys can apply it to your own life and really experience the feelings that I'm feeling. Like, I definitely would say that, like I said, I needed to see proof, and the way my life has been playing out, the different coincidences, just everything that's been happening, when I tell you I have learned to not question. And one little disclaimer that I would definitely say, the things and the coincidences that happen in my life have shown me that coincidences are not a real thing, which is what helped me build my faith, because it's just like, listen, this didn't just happen just to happen. Of course, like, things happen that you may not like and things happen that you may like, but it's more so being able to be aware enough to really analyze and I guess try to figure out what is there to learn out of the situation. What do I need to see? What am I not seeing? But on the flip side, there's also this level of not hyper focusing on why things happen, because sometimes things just happen because it happened, and sometimes we can't really control that. So yeah, this is a valuable conversation to share, and if someone is willing to listen, even if it's just one person, like, I pray that this does reach you, and I pray that I've shared some type of words of wisdom that you feel like you can apply to your life or that you needed to hear. And I just want to say, like, keep pushing forward. Like, even when you don't know what's happening in your life, just have this idea of whatever happens, there's something better coming to replace that. Sometimes you have to let go of dead weight, and sometimes you may be attached to things that you don't feel are dead weight, but it's actually dead weight. Sometimes you got to let that go, and sometimes you have to be comfortable with that, even if it might hurt, you know, like, or even if it just feels really uncomfortable. Just know that keep putting your best foot forward and show up in the way that you would had whatever you are wanting has already worked out. Have that law of assumption, like, it has already worked out, so I'm going to continue to work in the direction of whatever it is that I'm trying to create in my life, because that's how God works. And at the end of the day, like, it's not just God in control of your life, but you have free will as a person, and we are all co-creating with God. We're basically teammates with God in order to create our dream life. You just have to be aware enough, you have to be honest with yourself, you have to be willing to put in the work that is necessary. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be graceful with yourself. You have to also, you know when to hold yourself accountable, know when to really not play around and not play games and really be about business, but also know when to chill, when to relax, when to question and always keep God in everything that you're doing. Like, that's something I have to emphasize. Like, keep God in everything that you're doing. Everything. I'm telling you, I was that person. I had to see it. I had to really feel it to understand. So for me to be on this platform and expressing this video to you guys, expressing these things to you guys, there's a reason. And if you're a person that's like me, I need you to trust me. I know you don't know me, but I mean you well, I promise. Like, I don't want anything from you. I don't mean you no harm. I just really want the best for people. I don't know you, but I want the best for you. I want you to experience a beautiful life. And beauty looks different to everybody, but I want us to all be able to aim for that, especially when we're at such a disadvantage in this world of a matrix that we live in, where they're always trying to keep their foot on our necks. Like, I want us to also be able to wake up, which is another form of content that I'm also really wanting to do on this channel. It's just, I don't know how to do it without getting like shadow bans, you know, because I'm gonna be coming on here and spilling some facts to y'all that the higher ups might not like. And I don't want to be on the back of somebody's truck with a mask on my face because they trying to kidnap me and send me off to some island. You get what I'm saying? Of course, God got me, and I do not pray for that outcome to happen. You know, God got me. I'm gonna be good. But it's just really like, I gotta tread lightly on these internet streets, especially with just how advanced technology is. You gotta really be careful with what you're saying. And I want my message to really reach a lot of people, because again, like, my intentions are pure. To know the things that I know, and to think about my younger self who was oblivious to the things that I know now, and then to also know that a lot of humans on this earth are oblivious to it. I just feel like with knowing the things that I know, I want to share it with you. And I hope that you find value in me sharing it, because there's so much value in the difference of me not knowing versus me knowing, because I move so different in my life right now ever since I came to certain understanding of just life. And I'm still learning. That's the thing. When they say life is like school, it's literally true. Like, life is just a big lesson that you need to navigate, and you need to learn the various lessons, and you need to just enjoy the journey and not put so much pressure on yourself, especially pressure from society of what they feel like you should have, what you shouldn't have. Like, listen, what other people got going on is not your business. It shouldn't affect you. What you want in life, and make sure it's something that is genuinely something of desire in your heart. That is what you should prioritize coming true into your life. Everything else that you feel the pressures of society, oh, you need to make this much money, you need to have this type of car, you need to have this type of clothes, like, nobody cares about that. Because at the end of the day, when we all die, you are not taking those things with you. None of that stuff matters, like, at all. So it's just like, value yourself internally and really prioritize building on yourself internally. And like I said, in this current economy with the state of the world, if the whole economy collapsed, you having designer versus this person having on, I don't know, like a ripped up shirt. I'm not even trying to go that far, but like, you guys having like different price items is not going to mean nothing, because we're all going to be in the same boat. You get what I'm saying? Hierarchy at that point is just pointless and it's dumb. There will be a time where if this economy really hits the fan, the rich will be learning from the poor on how to survive. And the poor is going to be like, well, we had to navigate this, so it's not going to be as difficult, versus the rich. Y'all going to be struggling, and y'all going to be coming humbly, because it better be humbly, to the people who are going to be of assistance to you, and you're not gonna look at them as beneath you or anything like that. If anything, you need to make sure you have respect for those people, because they are what's guiding you through these tough times. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video here, because honestly, like, I don't really have like a specific topic that I'm speaking on. I feel like I just turned my camera on, and at this rate, if I keep talking, I'm gonna just have a lot of things to talk about. So I'm definitely going to take this type of content a lot more seriously. I do reflect a lot. I love to have conversations with myself, not in a crazy way, just really, I love to reflect out loud. Journaling has been something that has been such a blessing in my life, because I feel like it's helped me. Even me talking now, like, me 2 years ago, I used to say like, oh my gosh, like, I want to have a podcast, but I am so not good with putting my words together. Like, my brain sometimes moves faster than my mouth, so I could be thinking something while talking and it throws off my train of thought and I'm switching lanes to a different thought. But like now everything has really gotten to a place where it flows and I'm better able to get my thoughts out into words or into, you know, like writing. And I encourage everyone to get on a journey of taking yourself serious and valuing yourself in every stage that you're in, because it's only up from there if that's what you are going to put your intention behind, you know. And we're not always going to be on a linear path forward, you know. Sometimes we're going to fall, sometimes we're going to backtrack. But like one thing that I would definitely say is I have definitely gone through my seasons of backtracking so many times. Like when I come to an understanding about something, I'm like, okay, like this is going to be cut. But then I might find myself in time down the line doing something that I said I wasn't going to do. And that was all a part of the process, because when you are not walking in wisdom, again, I had the knowledge, but I didn't fully grasp the reasoning for the conclusion I came to. So sometimes, again, like God is going to make you keep repeating cycles. And it's not even, I want to say like God making you repeat them. It's like God testing you to see, like, have you learned your lesson? Like, are you understanding of what it is that you learned previously, and are you ready to move forward? And if you are not in that space where you have fully grasped, or even I want to say like taking seriously what it is that you have learned and the path that you want to continue down, you will find yourself repeating cycles that you thought you was done with, or that you thought just didn't mean you any harm. But one thing I would definitely say, there definitely does get a point where you get tired of your own. Like you get tired of yourself. You start to become like, all right, like I can't even like make any excuses for myself at this point, to where it's just like, you know what, like there comes a level of disappointment with that as well. And I feel like that's the part of being honest with yourself and holding yourself accountable and really giving yourself that tough love. But at the same time, like once you acknowledge that, you are then empathetic with yourself enough to not shame yourself, not guilt yourself, but still be willing to move forward and start a new page, you know. Every day is a new day to do better. And if you fall one day, get back up and keep trying. Like that's really what this journey of life is about. Like don't ever let anything keep you down. Keep pushing forward, okay? Keep pushing forward, because I promise you, you're gonna be so grateful that you did. And like I said, I'm not even close to where I want to be, but like I have so much faith in God and just everything that has been going on in my life, the way everything has played out, the way I have wished for things and it didn't happen, and then down the line me realizing like, wow, I'm so grateful that it didn't happen. But in the moment of it not happening, I was just like, oh, like why isn't this happening? Like why is it being so difficult? But it's just like everything, I promise you, happens exactly the way that it's supposed to happen. And it's just having that level of detachment of what's meant to be will be, and what's not meant to be, don't force it, okay? Sometimes, and this is general, but sometimes man's rejection is God's protection. And sometimes you don't know what you're being protected from, but just know you're being protected and be okay with that and work through whatever you're feeling and just keep looking forward, because you got this and God got you. Like you have to be in a mindset of like, God wants best for you at all times. God is like your spirit parent, okay? Like whether you see God as a woman, God as a man, God is your parent, okay? God is your friend, just your accountability partner. Let me keep it like that. Like God is your accountability partner who wants to give to you, but also, you know, like it's a give and take type of relationship. Like you got to make sacrifices and God blesses you, and vice versa. So I'm gonna just end this video here because I'm still yapping, but I really do hope that this video did speak to someone, and I pray that it reaches whoever needs to hear it. And I thank you for listening to me talk, and I hope it inspires you. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in another one. Bye.